everyone, welcome back to the Archenchanter's Wand. Today I wanted to run through a few modification deck savers that I've done recently and have a little ramble. It's the full moon in Sagittarius today, about now actually, and I've been attempting to figure out new ways to cleanse my decks and my stones that I have, my mala beads, things like that, for a number of reasons. I live in the UK. Leaving things out on a full moon is not always doable. I like to leave things on windowsills, however, as it happens, the windowsills available to me where the moon sits are all at the back of the house, and those rooms are my children's bedrooms and, you know, the kitchen, and it just, I don't want my decks to smell like food. I'm quite funny about smells, so and I don't, you know, that my kids don't want me cluttering up their windowsills with all my decks and things like that. So, and obviously it rains quite often, even in the summer it rains. So I'm trying to find other methods of cleansing my decks. The other thing that I don't tend to do very often is burn any herbs or candles or things like that. For some reason I like the idea of candles, however that wouldn't help with cleansing really. I used to burn sage, I used to burn rosemary and lavender and herb bundles to help me cleanse my decks. However, I find it interferes with my breathing, I've got a few health problems, and it's not always the best for me. So recently I have been cleansing my decks with sound. I found this little bell that used to belong to my grandma. It doesn't have a resonating ring, which I think would be better, but I feel like it's working. So I'm using sound to cleanse my decks and cleansing meditations and things like that. So we'll see how that goes, because this will be the first full moon that I haven't really actively put things out for cleansing. So I'm holding out hope on that one. Yeah, the other thing that I got, which is a bit of a side note actually, is I used to have a big old air purifier. It's not an air purifier, air diffuser or oil diffuser, which I would put water in and put a few drops of oils in, and it was, I think because it was moisture and not, I have a problem with scented candles. I have one up here, but I find them very powerful and very choky. So I struggle with those. And I found the oil diffuser, the oil diffuser worked a lot better. However, I'd had it for 10 years and my oils were all smelling just like not very nice. No matter how much I cleaned it. So recently I got this, which I am loving. It's by Neom. It was quite expensive. I think this was about £60, but it's a cold oil diffuser. So if you push up from the bottom here, the oil is directly plumbed in. There's no water involved. It does come with like a empty bottle that you can fill up with water and put on, just pass water through the system for a couple of minutes before you move on to the next one. But there's various settings, and it works beautifully and I love it. And I also love this brand of oils. They're really beautiful. I think this one is like a mandarin, and I'm quite a herby girl. I don't really like floral smells as much. Grapefruit, mandarin and eucalyptus, which I am just loving. It's my new favourite smell. It's on all the time, and it really helps me get into a space of this is my zone, this is my tarot space, you know, I'm here. It sort of triggers that response in me of this is my calm space, and puts me in that mindset for tarot work and introspection and things like that. So I'm really, really happy with that. I was looking at that for a while and wondering why on earth it was so expensive when you can buy other oil diffusers for like 15 quid off Amazon. It's only then that I realised when I bought it, she went, oh yeah, it works like this, and she showed us how to use it, and then I realised the cold diffusion sort of technology or whatever it is why it's so expensive. However, if it lasts, you know, I had my previous one for 10 years, so I'm really looking forward to, you know, having one that I don't have to constantly clean out and fight with to get my smells right and things like that. I also started a new journaling practice with the tarot. I've been reading tarot for years and years and years, and I stopped journaling with the tarot. I would just pull cards for myself, pull spreads for myself, reflect on them. I wouldn't take notes on it, and I would just use it to guide me in that day and that space that I was sort of doing those readings. But I've decided recently to revert back to journaling and keeping a bit more of a practice. So at the beginning of the week, well, on Sunday, a couple of days ago, I started pulling cards. I pulled the Sun from the Margaret Peterson for the energy for the week, which I will show you in a minute. I pulled the Amber, and so this is the Sun from Margaret Peterson, which I just love. And I think you can see things in the background of the painting. I mean, it looks like some sort of dragon this side, and like maybe a snake going on, but they are sort of meditation cards as far as I'm concerned. You could really, every time I look at them, I see something different. There's two people embracing here in the middle. I also pulled two oracle cards from, the first one is from the Earth Alchemy Oracle, and it's Amber and Dawn Redwood. And then Courage, which is the thyme plant from the Green Witch Oracle. I wanted to read you this actually because I loved what it said. I loved how it related to my current happenings, what's going on with me right now. So these are the three cards that I pulled for my week. But this one in particular really stood out to me. And in actual fact, the readings of all of these all fell into each other's sort of sphere. They were all talking about the same thing and bringing me back to the same thing. But I bought this Green Witch Oracle a while ago, which is this one. I bought this Green Witch Oracle a while ago, and I've been really wanting to incorporate it into my practice and my daily readings, and I've decided to pull cards with it for the next month. But I'm also in the mindset of trying to start a new garden, or my husband and I are preparing to start a new garden because we're due to move soon. At the moment our garden is just stones and it's just awful. There's no possibility of planting because we rent. So we're going to be buying our own place and for the first time ever planning our new garden. I'm really, really excited. However, I know nothing about gardening, so this deck will hopefully help me. But this card I pulled, Courage, Time. It's got the Libra sign here, and I really resonated with the reading for it. So this is the book. The book is quite nice. You get a double page spread for each herb. I particularly liked this one, a courage spell. Create an aura of attraction around you with this hair decoration. Secure fresh or dried thyme sprigs to hairpins with floristry tape and tuck into your hair to create simple or elaborate designs. The added benefit is that you should be able to see fairies when wearing your thyme in your hair, especially if the sprigs are flowering. I currently am wearing a sprig of flowering thyme in my hair, and I'm super happy about it. It gives you a little bit of the best way to cultivate the herb, the deities and astrological signs, and then the oracular meaning. So have faith in your own abilities and take steps and leaps forward with confidence. You can do this, and you should, as the energies of time are not only showing positivity but also a little mystical assistance afforded to you. If you are seeking an answer, it is positive as long as you act now. Failure to believe or care deeply enough can result in failure and delay. So immediately upon, well, I say immediately the next day, the day after I pulled this, I went out and I bought myself a thyme plant. And I'm super happy with it. It smells absolutely divine. I'm yet to pot it. It's currently living on my desk and being nurtured. My rabbit has had a little nibble. I've taken a sprig off to put in my hair, and I'm super, super happy. So I'm so relieved that I found a way to incorporate these cards into my practice. Let me just focus. There we go. Into my practice a little bit more. I'm going to set that one aside because that's on my shelf. I'm not amazing. I'm not an avid sort of fan of. I'm not a good big fan of huge cards that don't need to be huge. So I do feel like the illustrations on these, you know, they don't need to be this big, but I think they are quite nice altar cards. I'm sorry, I'm having glare issues. Let me. Yeah, so the size of them for me, they are a bit big, but I do like the fact that they've got the astrological associations. They've got a little bit about, you know, the keyword and then the name and the Latin name of each plant. I love the fact that they're vegetables and fruits and herbs and plants and flowers, like all different kinds of, they've got the element here, all different kinds of plants. And I'm really excited to work with them because for me this is going to be an intro into plant work. So I just wanted to show you how I'm incorporating that, and in the hope that, you know, someone else might like these. I think these are working with me. I'm in a, as I said in my previous video, I'm working in a real earthy sort of arena at the moment. I feel like I'm really pulled by the earth, and I'm working with a lot of earthy decks, this being one of them. And I'm really happy that I found a way to incorporate it and to use those little snippets to sort of guide me into what else I can do right now. It just so happens that planting herbs right now in the UK is the perfect time for it, so I'm taking it as a sign. So the other thing that I wanted to quickly show you, I say quickly show you, I don't think anything I do is very quick, is I suppose success stories with mods, deck mods. This one in particular as well, I edged this with a Posca, which is a heavily pigmented paint pen. I find that the edges are really holding up really well, and it's got a good solid, quite opaque colour, as opposed to other decks that I have previously ruined because I was stupid enough to attempt to use a Sharpie, which I have tons of, but do not work well with decks. The other one that I edged with a Posca was I haven't done it very well, I did do it at night and I do need to go over it again, was the Earth Alchemy Oracle. This one again, which I love. I'm really, really happy. This again is a new deck for me and I'm really happy with it. Up until very recently, Oracle decks are quite a new thing for me. I've had a couple for a while, the UC Super Oracle, but I wasn't that big into them, and I got persuaded by Natalia Ouroboros, and I got myself some decks that I was drawn to. So I feel like this pink, anyway, going back, I feel like this pink really works well with the pink in the cards, and I'm super happy with it. I am planning to go over it again because I did miss some bits. I did say that I did this in the dark whilst my husband was watching TV, so maybe not the best outcome. However, the actual ink is holding up really well. It's not scratching off, it's not chipping, and I'm really happy with the result. So I just wanted to share that with you. Another one that I really liked was this one. So this is quite a transparent ink. Let me see if I can. Wish I could lock this focus in. So this is quite transparent. However, a really beautiful colour and a match, and just enough of a colour for it to not be that horrible white edging when you've got such beautiful backs and such beautiful fronts. So I do try to edge all of my decks. I feel like it's one of the ways that I use that time to connect with them. I'll pick up each card one by one, edge them, think about the card, look at the card while I'm doing it, you know. But this one, I used a highlighter, believe it or not, a mild liner. This is a double-sided one, so this has got the flat edge, which was brilliant for this. And then it's also got a round tip edge. But you can get these in loads of colours, and I like this one because it was quite pastel-y, but this worked really well. I did not think a highlighter would be up for the job, but it was totally up for the job. How a highlighter can work and a Sharpie can't, I don't know. However, this one was brilliant. I'm really, really happy with the result, so I just wanted to put that out there into the world because I don't know if anyone has been feeling very brave with trying out new options for edging decks, and I just wanted to put this out there in case anyone felt like they've got a few around and they would be a good colour. So yeah, really happy with that modification. So I did go a little bit more in depth with some mods. Oh, sorry. The first one was the Marielle. So I was so excited to receive my Marielle through the post. It was a second edition. It came in the long box. When I got it, I was peeling, I had to peel the cards off of each other. They were stuck to each other. And as a result, I had loads of tearing around the edges of both cards where I'd had to peel them apart. And there were loads of white fluffy edges on both the front and the back. So I really wanted to save the deck because I love the deck. I love the images, and I didn't want to just buy another one without attempting it. Attempting to try and save the one that I had. I am a believer in things coming to me or things finding you for a reason. And I do like signs of use. It doesn't bother me to see signs of wear and tear. However, this was a brand new deck and I didn't want to waste it. So I have rebacked it using permanent matte black vinyl. As you can see, maybe not the best choice, but this was my first rebacking of a deck. I am lucky enough to have a guillotine, a stack guillotine at my unit where I do wedding stationery and business stationery for people, and design work. So I have a very good guillotine at work. I was a bit worried about it going through the vinyl because I rebacked them first and then I trimmed them down. I most probably wouldn't do it again with the matte because it does pick up loads of scratches and fingerprints and things like that, but I'm not that bothered. I don't focus too much on the backs. The main reason I wanted to reback this deck is because the cards were really flimsy. I mean, they're still quite flimsy, but they're a lot tougher now. They were quite thin before, whereas now I feel like they've got a bit of, they push back a little bit, which I like. They feel like card and not paper now. So I rebacked this entire deck. It took me ages. and then I very, very, very lightly trimmed around the edge and re-cornered them. I didn't want to take too much of the image off because obviously it's a beautiful deck, and because there was no important information around the very edge, you know, I was able to just take off. I think I took off, you know, like 1/2 mil, just enough to, all the way around, just enough to make the edges all neat, and then I edged them with a black Posca, which I think worked out really well. So they are just black on the back, it's nothing fancy now. However, they feel so much better, and I do feel like I saved this deck a little bit. I'm really happy with it. This is a deck save modification, definitely. This was just to let you know, because I know that people have been using contact paper. I know that people have been using, what was the other thing they were using? Like a Fablon type thing. This was a permanent vinyl. It came on a roll. I think it was a cry cut or a silhouette type vinyl, one of those. But it was a permanent vinyl. It did allow me to peel it off and re-stick it in case I got a bubble. You know, I was able to do that okay with this one, but once it's down and it's been down for a while, then it is permanent. It shuffles pretty well. It's still got a bit of a bend in it, so it does shuffle okay. I don't feel like it's all going to peel apart if I riffle it. It doesn't particularly stick together or anything like that. In fact, it shuffles really nicely. When you overhand, it's slippy. It's just slippy enough for it to shuffle. It's not too slippy, so it's nice. It's a nice, I would definitely use vinyl again, just not matte black. So that was my first sort of deck save, was with the Marielle. The second deck save, I say deck save, it saved it with me more than anything else, was my Brian Froud Fairies Oracle. If anyone's got this, don't freak out because this is a drastic modification. If anyone's got this, you will know that these were literally like paper. This has got a backing on it and it's still really, you know, it's still really, really thin. This again is a cry cut gold. It came in a little roll. It was very expensive. I should have measured it beforehand and I didn't. I ended up using 4 rolls of the stuff. But I'm happy because I didn't want to let go of my Brian Froud Fairies Oracle, and I just saw them, because I use them quite often, I saw them getting chipped and scratched and they were starting to look really battered. So I wanted to save them. Now, I backed them and I trimmed them, and I don't know if you are aware. Let me see. So I've got the book here. I should have told you. So this, I should have shown you one before, but this is how the card was before. Obviously this is blue and white, and it had a slight cornering on it, but it had this brown / gold corner. All the edges around the image were different thickness, different measurement from the edge to the image. All the way around was different. So that was a bit of a pig to sort out. This ripped edge was actually the deepest point here, was actually very deep, and I think I just went within that. So some of the cards have got this gold edge on, and obviously for me personally, some of these titles on the cards, because of the font, was just illegible. So I only ever used the numbers anyway, and then I would come to the book and I would read it from the book. So I was really not bothered about having the names on there, because I didn't refer to them. As I said, some of them were just completely illegible and not something that I was bothered about keeping. However, as you can see on this one, there is a fairy there that goes, sort of bleeds off the edge of the image, and I didn't want to completely just chop off all of it. So some of the cards do have the top of the writing still. I mean, would I prefer it not to be there? Yes. Am I that bothered that I'm not going to use the deck? No. Can I fix it? Not really. So I'm just dealing with it. The other thing that was particularly, see there's a little part of the edge there, you can see from where I've just clipped within this ripped border here. So the other thing that was a bit of a pig with modifying this deck was the fact that none of the images were printed in the same place on each card. Some of them had a massive border on the left, some of them had a thin border on the left. They weren't printed, or they haven't been printed consistently. So I had a pile that had a thin border on the left. You know, each border I did separately, but I had to pile them all up. So this one's got under 1 mil, this one's got over 1 mil, this one's really, you know, this pile is really thick and has a 3 mil border on the left. It was quite an intensive process in order to get it looking this good. I have cut a little bit of the number off, but again, that's because they weren't printed properly, and I had to make the decision of where the part of the image was most important for me. So yeah, given the issues that went on with this modification, I'm happy with how it turned out. I wanted to show it because I haven't seen anyone else modify the Fairies Oracle. I know that people like Danny Mystic has written keywords underneath the names, but I really wanted to save the paper. This paper is actually very similar to, in fact I think it's exactly the same as Titania's fortune cards, which is a Lenormand deck. So let me get one of these out because you'll see, right, this is how flimsy it was. It was just like paper. So now they've got a bit of give. They've got a little bit of give in them. They've got a little bit of fight back, if you know what I mean, which I'm a lot happier with, because I didn't want to... I think if you can see on this one, you can see that the edges do chip quite easily, and it doesn't really wear very well. So I'm going to do the same thing with this deck, because again, this is the second time I've bought this deck, and I really, this is my first deck that I ever bought for myself, in the sort of early 90s or whatever. So I really want to preserve it, but I also want to use it. So this will be next on my mod list. I also found silver and gold Posca pens. Now I did do it on this deck. These have been edged with gold. Let me see if I can focus. I'm not entirely sure why they've all come out darker and lighter. I wonder if it's the adhesive on the vinyl, or where some of them have got a bit more of the card and less of the vinyl. I'm not sure. However, it doesn't bother me entirely. I quite like it, the fact that some are a bit more yellow and some are a bit more gold. So this is the gold Posca pen. I have used the gold Posca pen on another deck, which I cannot remember what I used it on. It might have been my son's actually. And it wasn't like this. It wasn't like a rainbow of golds. It was a lot more consistent. I think this has to do with the vinyl that I used. But I just wanted to let you know that the metallic Poscas were also quite good for edging the decks. I also did the Starseed again. I did this one. I did the Earth Alchemy Oracle in the dark, so I do need to go over it again. But this is the silver Posca pen, and I think it's turned out really well. There are a few areas where I need to go over it. I initially did this in pink, and it was too pink for me, so I went over it with silver. But I love it. It is quite reflective, and I think for a pen, that's a nice finish. And it goes really well with the deck. So yeah, gold and silver Posca pens, or just the Posca pens in general, I'll put a link to them in the description, and also for the mild liners, the highlighters as well. But these two, the Brian Froud Fairy Oracle and the Marielle Tarot, these were me. I wanted to save my decks. I wanted to save this one from damage and give it a bit of weight, and I really had to repair this one. This was a repair job. I'm wondering actually if there are any cards in here that you can see around the edge. I know there was one that was particularly bad, but I think it was on the back. But there was, you know, this tearing around the edge where they had all stuck together. So yeah, this was a repair job. I hope that those notes have been helpful for people if you've had any issues with decks coming through, especially the Marielle. I'd be interested to see if I was the only one, if I just got a dodgy deck, or if anyone else had that issue as well. Let me know, because I'm interested to know. Yeah, they are my deck saving mods. Let me know what you think. Please don't be angry with me for cutting off the names. I think we're going to have two groups of people that aren't bothered about me cutting off the names and botching this a little bit, and then another set of people that are going to be like, no, it's fine, it's your deck, whatever, you do you. I must say though, on this one, I do quite like, in the certain light, you can still see the back through the gold. So the back of the deck is, I think they're called the Tipsy Topsy or Topsy Turvy card. That one. That's the back of the deck. And you can just see it through the right light. I quite like that. My son thinks it's creepy, but I quite like it. I don't think there's anything creepy about the fairies. I love them. I just adore them. And I'm hoping to see more of them now I have my sprig of thyme in my hair. Anyway, let me know what you think. Let me know if you've had any issues with the Marielle as well, or any other decks have come like that and you've had to repair them and sort them out. Thank you for watching, and I look forward to making another video soon.